Hello, sir. I am Abhishek KV, and my team members are Akil Tiotia and Chandanes, and our topic is stakeholder management. First, let me see introduction. What is stakeholder management? That is the process of identifying, analyzing, engaging, and managing individuals or groups impacted by the project is known as stakeholder management. That is, people who are related to project are managed in stakeholder management. Focuses on building positive relationships to ensure stakeholder needs and expectations are addressed here. Importance of stakeholder management. It ensures project alignment with stakeholder expectations and minimizes resistance and improves support. Helps in risk management and conflict resolution during the project life cycle. And let me tell who are the stakeholders. That is the individuals, groups, or organizations affected by the project or who can affect its outcome are known as stakeholders. That is the people who can affect the project outcome or who are present in the project are known as stakeholders. Types of stakeholders are internal stakeholders and external stakeholders. In internal stakeholders, team members, project managers, sponsors, and organizational leaders are present. In external stakeholders, clients, suppliers, regulatory authorities, end users, and local communities are present. If we take an example of construction project, internal stakeholders are engineers, architects, and labor teams. External stakeholders are government authorities, investors, and local communities. Now let's see objectives of stakeholder management. The key objectives of stakeholder management are identify stakeholders, that is to recognize all relevant parties related to the project, analyze needs and expectations, to understand their interest, concerns, and influence, engage stakeholders, build strong relationships and manage expectations, monitor engagement, track stakeholder satisfaction and make adjustments when needed. That is, if the stakeholder is dissatisfied, they should satisfy the stakeholders and make adjustments to the needed. And goal of the objectives are to ensure stakeholder alignment with project goals to improve success rates. Next is identifying stakeholders. Why we should need why we should identify stakeholders. That is to recognize who can impact the project and how to manage their influence effectively from the start. Methods for identifications are brainstorming, interviews and surveys, and document review. Let's see brainstorming. Team sessions to list all potential stakeholders. That is, team is assigned to list the potential stakeholders and they are listed by brainstorming. Interviews and surveys. Direct discussions to determine needs and expectations. That is, discussions will be held to determine the needs and expectations of the stakeholders. Document review. Analyze contracts, agreements, and legal documents. Output of this will be stakeholder register, a database containing stakeholder details, roles, and priorities. Next is stakeholder analysis. The purpose of the stakeholder analysis is to evaluate stakeholder needs, expectations, and influence levels. The key tool used for stakeholder analysis is power interest grid. If the power interest grid shows high power and high interest, then they will be the key players. They engage closely in the projects. Next is if it shows high power and low interest, the stakeholders will be always satisfied. That is, they keep satisfied themselves. If the stakeholder power interest grid shows low power and high interest, then we should keep updating them all the things about the project. That is, keep informed. If the power interest grid shows low power and low interest, then monitor with minimal effort. No effort is needed. That is, minimal effort is needed for the to satisfy them. Example, if we take example, a project sponsor with high power and high interest requires regular updates and close collaboration. Next, it will be continued by Akil.
Hello, this is Akhil. I'll be starting with the slide 7, which is prioritizing the stakeholders. So now that we have identified and analyzed stakeholders, our next step would be prioritization. So now why is this important? This is because we often have limited resources and focusing on stakeholders with the most significant impact ensures better results. There are many criteria for it. First includes the influence, that is, the stakeholders who can affect project decisions or resources significantly. Next is interest. Stakeholders who have a strong involvement or concern about the project's outcome. Next is urgency. The stakeholders who have immediate needs or expectations that require prompt attention. Now, for example, regulatory authorities often hold high influence due to compliance requirements, and therefore they must be addressed with priority. Now, prioritizing stakeholders can help us allocate resources effectively, also avoid unnecessary delays, and ensure alignment with the project goals. Next is the stakeholder engagement strategies. Prioritization naturally leads us to engagement strategies. Now, engaging stakeholders means actively involving them in the project lifecycle. There are several approaches that we can use. First is inform. We can provide updates to our stakeholders and aware them of the progress and milestones that we have achieved. Next is consult. We can seek their input through the surveys or the meetings to incorporate their feedback. We can also involve them actively within our work and help them in during the critical decision process. We can collaborate, we can build partnerships to achieve the shared goals. We can empower, delegate authority to stakeholders, which allows them to make decisions just specific matters. Now, for example, we're working with suppliers. Regular meetings and collaborative sessions ensure timely delivery of materials and strengthen the relationships. Similarly, empowering team leaders by delegating authority helps them in accountability and also improves efficiency. The communication plan. The communication is the backbone of the stakeholder management. Without a well thought out communication plan, even the best strategies can fail. Now, effective communication plan answers four questions. What to communicate? This is the progress reports, risk updates, the milestones, and changes in the scope are the common elements. Now, mediums, that is how we communicate. Choosing the right medium, such as emails for formal updates, meetings for collaborative discussions, dashboards for visual tracking, or even instant messaging tools for quick updates. Now, when we should communicate, there is a frequency. We can set a frequency like daily updates for internal teams, weekly reports for sponsors, and milestone reviews for all major stakeholders. Who will communicate? That is the responsibility. This is to assign the team leaders who have responsibility to ensure effective and consistent communication. For example, sponsors may prefer detailed email reports every week, while team members might benefit from bi-weekly stand-up meetings. Having a tailored approach also ensures relevant and stakeholders will receive relevant timely information, which reduces confusing and fostering alignment. Now, tools for stakeholder management. To implement effective stakeholder management, we have a variety of tools at our disposal. These tools help streamline communication, task tracking, and feedback collection. Communication tools like MS Teams, Slack, and email systems are ideal for instant updates and ongoing communication. Project management software, tools like Trello, MS Project, and Asana help in tracking progress, assigning tasks, and maintaining timelines. Analysis tools, the Power Interest Matrix and RSI charts are excellent for evaluating stakeholder influence and their responsibilities. We have also feedback tools. These feedback tools include surveys, feedback forms, and suggestion boxes, which allow us to gather input from stakeholders and also refine our strategies. Now, managing conflict with stakeholders. Conflict is inevitable in any project, especially when we are dealing with diverse stakeholders. These include miscommunication, conflicting priorities, and unrealistic expectations. We can resolve these using strategies like open communication, holding regular meetings, negotiation, planning the compromises, and escalation process, which include engaging higher authority if conflicts persist.
Hello, sir. Myself Chandan, and my topic is monitoring stakeholders management. Why to monitor the stakeholder management? That is to ensure stakeholders to remain satisfied and to identify emerging risks uh, and to concern it early. The methods of stakeholder management are survey, reports, and feedback. In survey, we must have to access the stakeholder satisfaction level, where in reports we must have to do regular process updates to maintain the transparency. When it comes to feedback meetings, we must have to adjust the strategies based on the stakeholders' input. Coming to the next slide, it's a case study where we'll take an example on this project. The project example will be development of e-learning platform. uh, there are two types of key stakeholders: internal and external. In internal stakeholders, there'll be developers, designers, and project managers, where in external there'll be clients, end users, and investors. Seeing the management strategies will regularly update for the to the investors, uh, and testing the feedback from the users, and to quick conflict resolutions with the suppliers. When it comes to outcome, improved stakeholder satisfaction and timely delivery will be done. Seeing the benefits of stakeholder management, uh, there are four main points. When it comes to improved decision, uh, will make the account for a diverse perspective of the stakeholders, and in increased support, we build trust among each other, and that reduces the resistance between all. When it comes to risk reduction, we identify and address issue early among the stakeholders and the suppliers. When it comes to high satisfaction, we'll align outcomes with the stakeholders, uh, ma- managing their expectations. Uh, Seeing the example, the early stakeholders involved reduces scope, changes it into later. Coming to the conclusion, key takeaways. The key takeaways are: stakeholders management ensures project alignment and success. Following the steps, we'll see it sequentially, where where identifying will come at the first step, and we'll then analyze, then engage and monitor the stakeholders. Tools power uh, Tools power interest grids and communication plans help manage relationship. To see the final thought from this topic, uh, stakeholders can make or break project, managing them wisely. Thank you, sir.